Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I didn't do the live stream schedule thing yesterday. I completely forgot. So I'm gonna give it like 5 minutes probably and see if anybody wants to jump in on this thing. But I didn't schedule this, even though I sat down this morning ready to live stream and I realized I didn't do the schedule. So it's might be a little light today in the live stream. So I apologize for that, guys. I usually do the scheduling right after I get done trading, but maybe yesterday because my head was a little I don't know, not in the right place after taking a red day. I just didn't get a chance to. Right, I just completely forgot to schedule this thing. So I'm gonna give it like a few minutes, see if anybody wants to jump in or not, and then we'll kind of go into the pre-market stuff, and we should be good before the market opens. I'm just gonna clear off some of my levels here that aren't relevant this morning. That one down there probably still is. I'll wait a few minutes. I'm sorry, guys, I didn't schedule this thing. Hey, good morning, guys. Thanks for jumping in on this thing last minute. I totally forgot to do the scheduling in YouTube last night like I usually do. I'm going to try to live stream all day this week. Morning, guys. Morning, Hustler, Donatus, Calvin, Justin, Terry, friend from Korea, SW Blaze. Good morning, everybody. Give it a couple more minutes and then we'll jump into doing the pre-market analysis stuff. We can look at, we get some news come out. We can pull up some websites and stuff while everybody's kind of coming in so we can see what's going on in the fundamentals. All right. Just one more minute. Let's see if people want to come in on this thing. And we'll go over the technicals. It is interesting. If there is, yes. So SW Blaze, that is something I was going to talk about. It's getting into rollover on the contracts. If you're new to futures trading, these are actually futures contracts that we trade on this thing. It's a derivative of the Nasdaq, and the contracts have expiration dates. So I won't get into too much details about futures are, but basically it was a way, or in theory, it's a way for you to lock in prices, and then to get a delivery of some goods in a future date. So the future date is the expiration date, and if you look at the actual contract up here, or the actual instrument name up here, I will get a pen. You can see it up here. It says 3/22. That's the expiration, March 2022. The new contract is June of 2022. So, and there's usually there's like a week of kind of a period where the contract is starting to get rolled over before the expiration date actually kicks in. And that is coming up. So your NinjaTrader platform will notify you automatically and ask you if you want to roll over those. You typically do not want to roll them over until the volume on the new contract exceeds the volume on the old contract. So I can see here expiration on this thing The roll starts now, but the expiration is not until March 18th. So you can come to this page over here. This is CME Group, March 10th. That's why everybody's getting the notification today, but the expiration is actually not until March 18th. So you just want to be monitoring, and usually it'll be like the week of that. So probably next week, next Wednesday, Thursday, I would think would be the time to actually roll over your contracts. And you can check on that by looking you can just look in a market analyzer like I've got over here on NinjaTrader, and you just want to check volume in the morning to see which one has more volume. So I've got the new contract on the Nasdaq up here. Daily volumes at 15,000 pre-market. The old contract, we're still at 173,000. So I'm still trading the old contract. It's got the most volume. And when the new contract volume exceeds the old contract, that's when I'll switch over. So I've also got the ES up on there, which you can see we're at 113,000 on the new contract. The old contract still has 400,000 on it. So don't roll over yet. If you did roll over, you can always go back to the previous contract by just coming up here and I believe just manually entering in 0322. Or there may be more of an automated way that NinjaTrader does that. I'm just not familiar with it. And some people on here may be more experts on this than I am. This is not something that I've delved a lot into or spent a lot of time trying to figure out. It's just something that I've done over the last however long I've been trading. So we are still going to trade the March 2022 contract probably until mid next week, I would assume. All right, so we've got some folks in here now. Again, I apologize for not scheduling the stream. I really appreciate you jumping on here last minute. I usually do schedule these things. I always schedule these things. So it just slipped my mind yesterday to not post that on YouTube. All right, so let's take a look at what happened yesterday real quick. We've got 10 minutes for the market to open. Yesterday we got burned pretty bad. Our short trade never came through, obviously. I had a short bias all morning. I still have a short bias on this thing. Never came, never happened. This was pre-market yesterday right over here. These are hourly candles. This right here is a weekly volume profile that you're looking at. This was in pre-market yesterday, and then the market open was over here somewhere, I believe, and we came up to the previous day's high. I was really thinking that we were going to find some resistance. We were way overextended in pre-market, up like over 3%. I thought for sure this thing was going to come down, and this was just a bull trap, basically. So we took some shorts too soon. We took some shorts trying to short it at the top, which is really not the way that I trade. I'm not good at doing that. And I know that. My pre-market plan was really to wait for it to break a couple of support levels and then to start forming bearish structure. And I was just watching the charts too long, and I just jumped into some trades that were not in my playbook. So I got burned for it pretty bad. Lost about $1,800 yesterday. One thing I will say is I'm glad that I stopped trading when I did, because I was watching it the rest of the afternoon, and we clearly were not going down yesterday. A lot of, I would have gotten chopped to bits on this move coming up in the rest of the day, because I guarantee you I would have kept shorting it, and my loss would have been even worse. So happy I walked away from it, and you just move on. It's fine. It's not a massive loss. It was basically one day, maybe 1.5 days, and one thing I will say is I'm not going to try to make that back today. I don't care about. I care about the loss. I care about what I did wrong yesterday, but I do not care about the P&L of yesterday, and I'm not going to try to trade to make that back. That's going to be a recipe for disaster. Today's a new day. We just come in and we trade as normal, and we don't worry about whatever the number is from yesterday that we lost. We just trade as we always trade. I'm not going to try to make that back somehow. So, all right, we got that kind of out of the way. We just saw a complete rip up yesterday. pretty intense. Oil also popped way down, and I did buy into some oil yesterday. So if you see oil shoot down, know that I'm getting burned on that too. But I finally did buy into some oil as price really shot. That there was a point yesterday, I can't remember, it was like 1 or 2 o'clock, or around 1 or 2 o'clock or something, that oil just spiked down, and for no reason. It could have just been people taking profits. There was some talk about, some of the OPEC suppliers increasing oil production. Also, we're looking at Venezuela and some other people about increasing production. But I think for the short term, that's not going to be providing us any real relief at the pump. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not telling you to buy oil. I have no idea. Oil could shoot down. I do have a stop loss on oil, so it's about a 1 to 2 profit loss ratio. So I'm fine with it. If it doesn't work out, whatever. But if it works out, great. And I'm just tired of seeing oil going up every day, and I'm not in on it. Anyways, that's a side note. Complete side note. Let's look at what we got going on this morning. For today, we've got 6 minutes to the market opens. Yesterday we looked at this candle from that would have been Tuesday, super bearish looking, but of course we exploded past that. Yesterday was this massive buying going on. We've gapped up, it looks like, from last night, but we've got sellers coming in this morning, pushing this thing back down. We do have some resistance up here at the 20 SMA on the daily. This is also this downtrend line, which we've got drawn out here. This is at 13,970-ish level. Is that 13,950-ish level? I'm going to mark that out on this chart so it pops up on all my other charts. So when if price does come up here, I can see this area. I think also 14,000 is going to be a big one. So we've kind of got this zone up here, 14,000, 13,950 to 14,000 and some resistance. Is this thing bullish? No, I'm still bearish on this thing. We're clearly in a downtrend. However, if you look at the technicals just on this thing, we're in one of these things where we've got a diagonal resistance level and a horizontal support level. Typically, when you see a chart formation like this level is going to break and we're going to move up. That is the classical, traditional chart pattern model on that. However, you could also read it is that we're in a down channel. Oops, that's too high. We're in this down channel and we may come down here and test 12,000. So a lot of this is just going to be on price action. These are higher time frame chart scenarios, and we try to zoom down to lower time frames to find our intraday opportunities. Coming over to the 4-hour. We can see we kind of almost just came up to the upper band on the 4-hour. Again, these two levels up here, which I just drew out on the daily, are going to be big for me up here. This thing could be doing one of these, this ABCD pattern, and then we come up and we hit 14,000, and then we would have a nice trend line here that if that broke, it would come down. So that's something to keep in mind. Is this thing going to want to, come up and then come straight back down? I don't know. I mean, it could be, the ABCD pattern could be A, B, C, D, or it could be A, B, C, D, right? It's however you read it or look at it. Price action, delta, all that stuff is going to talk to us and let us know kind of what's going on. Look over here on the hourly. It's like a solid rejection off of VWAP. Just in the last hour, we got 3 minutes till the market opens. Big LVN up here, downtrend line. So there's some resistance going on up here. And I can draw this supportish level. We are at the bottom of the band here on the 1 hour. So as I move down to the 1 hour, 5 minute, 500 volume, 1 minute, those kind of, the 1 hour is weird. It's like kind of lower time frame, but also kind of higher time frame. It's right in the middle there. We got an LVN going on here. I think maybe if we broke this, we may want to come down and test down this level. So that could be a pocket to pick up, but we're at the bottom of the band, which is probably going to provide some support. If you were bullish on this, and we were looking at that 4-hour ABCD pattern on the lower time frame for possibly this thing to come up and hit 14,000, go like that. then, I think a good long entry on this would be the break of this trend line, the break of the 20 SMA, and then you might see it. So, we've got this downtrend line here. Price comes up, we break the trend line, break the 20 SMA on the 1 hour, and then that would be probably your signal that it's going to start moving up. So we've got that going on there. Let's just move down to 500 volume. I'm trying to get through some of the stuff pretty quickly before the market opens here. We're at the 500 volume here. Here is that low we just drew on the 1 hour. Take this thing off. You can also draw trend line like that. Maybe I don't want to use yesterday's. I'm going to use today's. So we see we've got some touches here. I don't know if the first one's a touch, but whatever. So we've got this trend line. I think if we do break above VWAP, we break above those areas that we drew on the other chart on the 1 hour, then price may want to, I can't even draw an arrow there. Then price may want to begin moving up. And the only reason I say that is we look at Delta. Delta is in a bullish structure coming in. As price dropped lower here off of VWAP, Delta remained in a bullish structure. So I could see this move to the upside today. What I'm going to do is not try to keep my bias so firmly in mind. I'm going to try to be more open-minded today because yesterday I clearly was not in the right headspace to trade this thing. My bias was too bearish. We are negative on the day this morning, negative 1.5%. But you know what, to be honest, we came up so much yesterday that this thing had to come down. I mean, I don't even know what yesterday was. It was like 4 or 5%, which is a ton. So I'm looking at this 1370-ish level, and I'm really interested to see kind of what price does up here. If we get up to that, if we break this, if we break VWAP, break the trend line, break 20 SMA, if we're gonna, come up into that, possibly. But price will tell, time will tell. We're gonna try to take better opportunities today. One thing I do want to be mindful of is not sitting on my hands for too long, because then I get anxious and I jump into something that I probably don't want to be in. So we did miss a short trade yesterday. I remember that in the first 10 or 15 minutes, which, really could have changed my trading day, because I would have had, $500 or something in my pocket, and I may have been okay with that. I really should have just been okay with walking away at a zero, but is what it is. So we see Delta moving up here. Oh, the other thing I will say is that Delta starts to act weird rollover week. So yesterday I noticed that Delta was moving down while price was moving up, particularly in the later in the session, I should say. And some of that could have to do with it coming into rollover. So my buddy Delta down here, I need to, trust but verify type thing. I need to, really confirm it with some price action, because some people, some traders or whatever are using the new contract, but you shouldn't be. So I haven't even looked at the chat yet. I'll say good morning to everybody. Ibrahim, thank you for joining us from the Philippines. I appreciate that. Chris, where do you find market analyzer in a trade? Yep, Control Center, new market analyzer. Hello, Pascal Reg. I'm sorry, Nicholas. I'm sorry I butchered your name. I'm horrible with names. I'm really sorry, buddy. I hope I said that somewhat right. I'm sure it wasn't even close, but I appreciate you joining. Hey, Victor. My day's pretty good, man. My day's pretty good. I'm in the Midwest here. We're under a winter weather advisory. We're going to get some snow today. It was like 70 degrees last week. Now it's going to be a snowstorm, so. And there's a joke that if you don't like the weather in the Midwest, just wait 5 minutes. All right, so we're now coming down to the bottom of the band here. On the 5 minute, I think it's going to be some support. And if Delta wasn't working so weird yesterday, I'd actually think this is a buy, because we've got this pullback down here into a support area at the bottom of the band on the 5 minute, bottom of the band on the 1 hour. And we can see Delta, you know, making actually some bullish structure. I may take a buy down here. Again, I'm gonna try to trade today, unbiased, and really just kind of trade what the market's given me, and try to trade a little bit better here. I'm also going to take base hits today, guys. Sorry. That's just 130 on the open. We're looking at base hits. That's what my boy Ross Cameron, he's not my boy. I've watched some of Ross Cameron stuff. That's what Ross Cameron talks about sometimes, taking base hits. After big losses, you just want to come out and make some of it back. And don't worry about making it all back. Just have a good day. So that was my base hit. I got out there because I just saw price stuttering. And if you notice, I'm not using take profit or stop losses. And normally I do, but if I'm trading by myself, I do. But what I found when I do these videos is that I typically move my stop way out of the way, because if anybody knows how Nasdaq works, it is just spiky, right? And what I normally do is I'm looking down at Delta to confirm price action. So if Nasdaq spikes against me here, like if I got in that little long there and I saw Delta really shooting down, Delta really shooting down, then I would want to get out of the position. But if price gave me a little spike to the downside, give me a little blip to the downside, but Delta held bullish structure, or held, you know, a higher high, like right there. So if I saw a price spike, but then I saw Delta move higher, I would stay in the position. But that little price blip would take me out if I had a stop loss, because really what you should do is put your stop right below the previous candle, right? Or right below local support. But on the Nasdaq, it moves so crazy, and I think that's why people have such a hard time trading Nasdaq. I mean, look right now. If you know, I still think that this thing, just looking at Delta, I still think it wants to come up today. We're at the support area, bottom of the band. Excuse me. And Delta's holding bullish structure. So it's not to say that it's not going to fall down, but right now I don't see a trade for me. I could have held onto this one obviously a little bit longer, but maybe get to the upper end of the band would have been a better trade. But base hits, guys, base hits today. That's I'm not looking for grand slams. I'm looking for base hits. So we'll see what it wants to do. So this trend line, don't let this blue line fool you. This blue line is actually just overnight session, right? This trend, the actual big level that I'm looking to break is this red line right here, which is 20 SMA on the 1 hour. And that's kind of pinching in now. Oops, that's kind of pinching in now to this downtrend line that we have here. That's really, if that breaks, then I think we're going to be bullish on the day. But I need that to break. I need price to really start moving up here. And if we get any follow through from yesterday, you know, it's got room, because we're already down 2%. The one thing I will also say is that when you take positions in other more like swing trades, so like I said, I took an oil position yesterday as price when price spiked down. It tends to bleed over into your intraday trading. So I know that there's going to be an inverse correlation between indices and oil at this point. So as indices drop, oil is probably going to be going up, which is not normal. But anyway, that's just the way the market is right now. So I'm kind of in my, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm rooting for this thing to go down, which is, you know, consciously or not, you're making it difficult for me to take longs. Hey, Victor, you're in Dublin. That's cool, man. I would love to go to Dublin. I've been to London several times, but I've never been to Ireland. So I should say I've been to England several times, but I've never been to Ireland. We're just watching it down here to see what it's doing. Delta's starting to make a new low, but overall structure in it's still pretty bullish. New Zealand, love it. Hey Karma, thanks for joining us. What time is in New Zealand? I mean, it's probably pretty similar to Philippines. Evening, I would assume. Probably like 14 hours ahead, maybe. Possible 14 hours ahead. Now we can see Delta there dropping. This thing may want to break that low and start coming down. The question is, where does it want to come down to? We've got the 20 SMA over here on the 4-hour, which I'm going to be eyeing. I'll draw a red line on that. The one thing I like about having the 4-hour chart up is that it closes at 9 o'clock. Oh, guys, I totally forgot. We had data come out this morning. I can't believe I forgot that. All right, let's look at what came out this morning. What I was going to say is I like having the 4-hour because you get a candle close at 9 o'clock on the 4-hour. Okay. Let's see what we have coming out on the economic calendar front this morning. The ones that we're concerned with are CPI came in at consensus. It all came in at consensus. Over here, I kind of went off track there. But initial jobless claims are also important to us, and those came in higher. So it printed red, more jobless claims, which is not good. So I would say not that great, not that great for the Nasdaq, and that might be what some of this reaction is too. However, also not that bad. Initial jobless claims, yeah, printed a little higher, but I think at this point, the market's kind of priced inflation in. I still think interest rates and inflation are going to keep driving this thing down. Those are pretty key fundamentals for it. So that's going on with that. Let's see what CNBC is telling me. Dow futures fall 400 points after talks between Russia and Ukraine falter. Inflation rose 7.9% in February as food and energy costs push prices to highest point in more than 40 years. So inflation is still there, even though CPI came in at consensus. Just because it comes in at consensus doesn't mean that it's a good number for the economy, right? It just means that the 200 economists they surveyed got it right. But it does say that the market probably priced in the consensus, and if it comes in worse, then market's probably going to fall. If it comes in better, then it's going to go up. But so Russia and Ukraine talks have failed, which is not particularly surprising. I think Ukraine is Russia is going to drag this out for. I've said that yesterday. I think it's going to get dragged out. Russia is going to use this as a proxy to punish the West for a while. But I'm not going to get too political with any of this. I don't think that this is particularly the place, but just saying what I think is going to happen in the future. The more that war drags on, it's going to be the worse it's going to be for the economy. And that's just a reality. Basic support and resistance from previous day. Let's see. I don't know if yesterday's high and low is actually going to come into play. I mean, the low is way down here, right? So this is the daily chart. I don't think that low is particularly into play right now. I thought Wednesday's high and low were really going to be key. I'm sorry, Tuesday's high and low were really going to be key, particularly the low on it. Like I said, for me, the big level that's in play right now is this overnight session downtrend line. And the 20 SMA on the 1 hour. For me, that's the key level that I think is really in play. And that's up here at 13,667, 75-ish, somewhere up here. That's the one thing I keep looking at that is because, like I said, Delta for me is looking bullish. Delta's looking bullish here. we're down almost, 1.75%, but we're still positive delta, which shows me that it hasn't been super aggressive selling. And so I would think that price may want to get up above this and start moving up, and we may become flat on the day at 0%. Maybe it's just a flat day, and then I don't know though. But my overall bias on the thing is bearish, particularly now that I'm reading that the Ukraine-Russia talks have failed. So I'm getting kind of conflicting signals a little bit here. We're just same thing that happened yesterday, guys. We chopped around forever. We chopped around forever. And I got chopped up at the end because I was watching the price chopping around, and I decided I wanted to participate, and I paid the price on it. So we got to wait for some signal, some confirmation that we're going to start to move one way or the other before I really want to jump in. And right now I think it's down a little too low. We're at the bottom of the band here on the 1 hour. We've got this LVN here on the weekly volume profile. I just think there's some support down here for it. And my eye is only seeing this move right now. But I feel like the fundamentals that are going on with inflation, with Russia, with all that stuff, isn't supporting a bullish move. So I don't know, you tell me. Maybe there just isn't something for me right now, and I got my little $130 base hit, and just be happy with that. I don't know, maybe, but we'll watch it. Like I said, we start pushing, we start breaking VWAP, we break this, where is it? Way up here, this level up here. Maybe we get a bull pop on it up to 13,750. That's 100 points right there. That's certainly something you can make some money off of right there. And I'm just doing that because we can see here we've got an LVN forming here. So I would think that if price got through the 20 SMA, particularly if we closed above it the next 15 minutes, I don't know if we'll do that, but if we closed above that, I think that you can make a run up to 13,750. Might be something for a scalper like me to pick up. Point of control, Victor. Yep, point of control is the most volume for that volume profile. So we can also look at an overnight volume profile. And what we can see here from that, this is an overnight volume profile right here. Right here. So it's been calculating since 5 p.m. yesterday, 5 p.m. Central Time yesterday. We can see that the point of control has come in down here. Typically, that means that price is going to start wanting to move away. Or the profile wants to get stretched out. So the value area low, which is this level right here, this is the value area low, this is the value area high, these are the outlying regions. And this area, this darker blue area, is where 68% of the volume has come in. So that's kind of considered the accepted trading range. And as point of control comes in down here, you would see price move away. And typically it would move this way, but I'm not discounting that price also wouldn't want to move down, and then we would see this profile stretch out with point of control being in the middle and the value area low coming in, down here somewhere. So we get more of a balanced profile. And I'm not saying that won't happen, but I'm just saying we're kind of down at some support area, and I don't really want to short the bottom of this thing. Chop causes harm, only pain. Yeah, I believe that. Hey, thanks, Eddie, for suggesting some likes. I would love to get some likes on this video. I got 28 likes. That's awesome, guys. Thanks. Appreciate you jumping in on this thing. I'm sorry there's a little bit of a lag. There's nothing I can do about that. It's on the lowest latency level that YouTube will let me do. Someone suggested that I go over to Discord. And then somebody also suggested Share Vision, which I might check out. To see if there's maybe some options where there is no lag. The lag is only like 2 seconds, maybe, or maybe 3 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. But it's still there. And to be honest with you, it might be better that there's a little bit of a lag. You should not be copying my trades. I don't mind if you sharing what I'm thinking, and it's kind of nice to talk through stuff. But don't copy my trades. You should trade your own style. And you should never copy somebody else's trades. Because for one, you'll just blame them. Like if it doesn't work out, you won't really learn anything. And the end goal for this is for you. You should be able to go sit on the beach somewhere and do this by yourself, and not have to, be on anybody else's time. Hey James, thanks. Yep, I only trade the NQ intraday. I do swing trade other things, but I only intraday trade the Nasdaq. And I'm a believer that if you're gonna do a high volume, a lot of trades, it should be just on one instrument. I used to try to trade several things. Like I used to have the ES, the NQ. I would have yen up. I would have oil up. I would have I would have some stocks up, and I had like 6 different screens, and I was like, I'm gonna be, that trader who's just killing the markets and getting everything and all this stuff, and it just doesn't work. It's too much information. It's information overload, and for me, it's hard to switch my brain from looking at NQ to CL to ES to YM to the Russell, and then each one has its own little quirks. And so if you just focus on the one and you get to know its quirks, its ins and outs, it makes trading a lot better. And I've said it before. I did a video on it. It's kind of like you're a thief, you're a robber, you're a bank robber. You're going to stake out that bank before you rob it. You want to know what it's doing. You want to know its routines. You want to know when the tellers are taking lunch. I don't know. I've never robbed a bank, but you know what I mean? Like you want to just stalk the thing. You want to know its moves. And then you want to exploit those moves and take advantage of them. You don't need to be a market genius and catch the 100-point move every morning. If you're a scalper like me, you can just catch these little moves on relatively, moderate size. I only trade 1 to 2 contracts. I'm not crazy, and you can make a few $100 a day, maybe 4 figures a day. Maybe break that 1,000 level on 2 contracts. Oops. And if you do one of these prop firm evaluations, I don't know any other way that you could have the potential to make, 5 figures a month with a $100 investment. I mean, that's basically what it is. You do the Lilu Express, or Apex always has got some deal going on. You pay $100, and within a month, you could have earning potential of, 6-figure a year earning potential. And I don't know any other opportunities that allow that, really. But you got to get good at it. And you've got to be okay with taking losses. Like yesterday, we had a big loss yesterday. You got to get better at, I got to get good at taking losses and just shaking it off. Eddie, I don't think I'll ever trade 10 contracts. That's just too. Well, you know what? I wouldn't say that. I think I may go up to 6 contracts. And I used to trade 6 to 8 contracts. I used to trade 6 to 8 contracts, and I don't know, man. I'm not there yet anymore. I'm still talking to my therapist about that. That's a joke. But that's just too much size for me. I don't mind losing, I can lose a couple grand in a day, but when you start talking about $5,000-$6,000 in a day, it's all relative though, right? It's like if I was making 10 grand a day and I lost 6 grand, I wouldn't think too much about it. So one interesting thing is here, guys, we can see this trend line that we just drew on the 500 volume, came up, touched it. Ooh, exactly. You know what that tells me? It tells me that this is a valid trend line. A valid trend line. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 touches on it. So if this thing breaks, if this level breaks, we should get a pop to VWAP. That's what that tells me, that this trend line is valid. I saw somebody trading, I won't mention their name, but they drew some trend line that they had been trading off of for like 2 weeks I think it was on I don't know what it was on. I don't know what chart level it was on. But they kept being like, look, price broke through the trend line. It was a false breakout. And then price broke through this other trend line. It was a false breakout. Then we came back up, and we broke through the trend line again for another false breakout. My dude, that's not a false breakout. That just means your trend line isn't valid anymore. Trend lines have expiration. I don't want to say dates, but they expire. At some point, that trend line is no longer valid, and you need to take it off your chart. Oops. So I'm looking at that 552 level there, possibly to break, and then we get this pop up, but that would give me new session highs. Let's see if this trend line breaks. I could see price really exploding out of these levels and popping up here. But again, I'll be cautious because we are in bearish state right now. I trade 5 contracts micro. That's the way to go, man. Micros. Yeah, if you wanted to open your own account, micros, you definitely should start with micros. So, Zenny DMT. These are these prop firm evaluations, which are all over the internet now. And I did a video on one. If you want to check that out, I could try to look it up and just share the link. But basically, you trade on a sim account. You pay like $100 to $300 depending on the size of the account that you're trying to get, and you trade on a sim with them for, I don't know. For how you're trying to meet a profit goal. Sorry guys, I'm looking at my YouTube thing trying to find this video. And if you make it, then you get one of these accounts. So, and you can trade with their capital, and a lot of people do them, but they're hard to pass. I mean, it sounds like it should be easy, but they are hard to pass. So I'm just looking up this video right now, and you can take a look. Here, best trading funding programs. Let's see if I can find a link. Oh, we're moving up here, guys. Moving up. I'm gonna try to find the link in a second. Hold on. Remember, we're just trading one contract today, guys. No fireworks for me. We're doing base hits. Base hits. I'm gonna see if we break that level and really get a pop up. We got this level here, which price has bounced off of a couple times, but let's see if we break it. Do not copy my trades, folks. Do not copy my trades. You will lose money and you will blame me. Do not do it. So price, that didn't trigger, but I'm not saying it's not going to. We're gonna keep watching it. We should get a little bust through on this. If it doesn't bust through right away and we get an explosion, I need to close out of it immediately. This should be a quick move. I'm gonna get out there for my other base hit, 286. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. Here you go. This is my prop firm video that I did. I really need to do a better video on that. I did that like when I first started the channel. So my sound is all off and stuff. I almost jumped back in on it, but I didn't want to push my luck. Are these scams? Are these scams? What do you mean by scam? So I talk about this a little bit in that video if you watch it. They do pay out, all right? They do pay out, and I don't work for one. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but I think the payouts are actually, this thing's ripping up now. I should have held on to that. I'm telling you, I'm gonna get, if I ever do merchandise, I'm gonna get a t-shirt that says I should have held on to that. And that's like my theme. We've now popped up to VWAP. That would have been a good hold. What was I going to say? Yeah, I've gotten paid, Dave. Lots of people get paid. I'm not saying you won't at all, but I think that they use, and I don't know how they work. Maybe it's like, what am I trying to say? Like if you're really profitable, you've got a good like Sharpe ratio or whatever these things are called. They'll move you over to a live account and you're actually trading real money. But their payouts, I think initially are just from the revenue they're getting from other people signing up to do the trading courses, aren't trading courses, the evaluations, kind of like a little Ponzi scheme. No, if you start with 1,000 and you end with 100, no, that's right. That's a 10% return, which is great on the NQ. But you gotta remember, these things are highly leveraged products. So when you compare that, like with a ETF or typical investing, there's a lot of risk with that. You might be able to make $100 in a week, but you may also lose that $1,000 within the first hour. So there's a lot of risk. I'm gonna get some coffee, guys. I'm gonna come back. Is this thing going on pop VWAP? I should have held on to this thing up to VWAP. I mean, kind of called. I don't want to say I called it out, but that was the trade. We break the trend line, which we said was really strong, right? A really strong trend line formed. When that broke, we also had this level of resistance here where we can see the 5-minute bounced off of twice over here on the 5-minute. When that broke, it clearly opened up VWAP in the upper end of the band, and I just didn't hold on to it because I didn't want to take a loss. I'm gonna go grab some coffee. I'll be right back. Oh boy, I'm back, guys. Thanks for sticking around. How about trading crypto? I've traded crypto before. I have no bias towards crypto at all, good or bad. I'm not a crypto guy by any means. I'm not like by any means crypto guy, but if something's moving, trade it. And if crypto's in play, I will trade it. I don't think crypto's in play all the time. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, yesterday, Biden announced some crypto policy and it popped like 8%. It's in play, right? Trade it. I didn't trade it, but I don't think you can sit around. I wouldn't sit around and wait for Bitcoin to hit 100,000. Your money will just be wasted. You could be doing a lot more with it. I think personally, but other people are on the crypto thing. I know a guy who trades crypto like crazy. I'm waiting for the news to say Bitcoin is at 5,000 or something. I'm waiting for Bitcoin to really crash and then I might buy into it again. But right now, I think it's just chopping around. Remember, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, Bitcoin was like at 9, it was like at 10,000 maybe or something. It had broken 10,000 or no, it was at 10,000, I think. I can't actually remember. I remember Ethereum was at $650 and I bought Ethereum at $650. And I think Ethereum has a little bit more. And again, I'm not a crypto guy. I'm sure there's some guys on here that are crypto guys and they're going to burn me for this. But Ethereum, I think, has actually some more value than actual like you can use it for like more blockchain technology and stuff. So I had bought into Ethereum. I do not own any Ethereum anymore. I don't own any crypto anymore, for that matter. All out of that stuff. But I'm telling you, I still look at it once in a while. It's on. I think it's on my. I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are both on my not a watch list, but on my thing that I look at to see what prices are doing. Thanks, Zenny DMT. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I do these live streams because I think like most traders, it gets kind of boring just to trade by yourself. And I like educating. I like talking. I like educating. I like walking through like what I'm thinking. So like right here, you can see Delta here now coming negative, right? Now coming negative. We've broken these lows that we had over here on Delta. It looks like maybe it wants to make a move down, but we're so close to the lows of the day. And again, this band, although the band's opened up a little bit, it may want to pop down. I just don't want to get caught. I just don't want to get caught at 13,500 and then it shoot back up and I get stopped out on it. So I'm really looking for a clear break one way or the other. I think I've traded futures and I've traded Forex. I've dabbled in crypto, but that wasn't really like intraday trading. But I did use intraday trade Forex and also equity stocks. And for me, futures is the way to go. I just like how I wake up in the morning and I've got the one product, I just know that I've got Nasdaq up. I'm looking at the one thing. I don't have to go open up stock screeners and look at like 4 or 5 different stocks and read their charts and look at the fundamentals and look at the news and see what's going on with them. And then, trying to pick 2 to really focus on the open. And then those 2 don't really move, but one of the ones that I was looking at really shot up or whatever. And it's just like, oh, you missed it. On futures, you get nice data coming through, market data coming through on the cumulative delta. You could also do tape reading or traditional level 2 stuff if you want. I like cumulative delta because it's just easy for me to quickly read. A lot of volume. You can get in and out of a lot of liquidity. Moves quickly. And you got these prop firm evaluation things, so you can get in with relatively little investment. I mean, for me, if somebody's just starting out trying to day trade, I would say look at futures. It may sound complicated. I didn't know what a futures contract was. I knew what stocks were, and I knew what Forex was because there's so much information on the internet about Forex that I think a lot of people get funneled into Forex. A lot of people get funneled into Forex when they first start trading because there's so much info out there, and it's you don't need a lot of money to open the account. I'm just looking at the other indices. Somebody said the ES looks strong. It's still in a downtrend though. I think it's doing similar to what this is doing. This is the ES on an hourly. And I still feel like that's a similar chart that we're looking at. I don't know, maybe it's popping a little stronger. That's a pretty good move. And it didn't come down quite as low as the Nasdaq, but I'm not an ES expert. Yeah, there's just a lot of information out there about Forex because I think you get around the PDT rule like you do with equities. And see Delta popping a little bit here on that move as we broke higher. And I'm glad I didn't short that support level because look, 13.5's holding. I would have been stopped out on that. But futures is the same thing. There's no PDT rule. You can trade micros. You can open an account for $1,000. I would say $1,200. I think you would probably need to open up an account. A little bit more than Forex, because Forex you can size down even more. You can take like 0.01 lots and stuff. But if you do one of these prop firm evaluations, you only need like $100. You get data, you get everything. You get NinjaTrader license, data, and you got some skin in the game without too much financial risk. So I tell people they should look at futures, and they always kind of look at me oddly. What's a futures? I don't want to learn that. I don't want to learn it. I don't want to learn what a futures contract is. It's stronger than the NQ. Yeah, it does look stronger than the NQ. I mean, the Nasdaq I think is getting particularly hit hard with all the inflation and interest rate stuff. I mean, that's why it's down way more than the S&P and Dow. The 10-year. That's probably moving on some of that inflation data this morning. This is super choppy, guys. This first trade was the trade. This was the trade. This one right here. Break of the trend line up to VWAP. That was the trade. I don't know if we're going to get a better setup this morning. And we took 55, not even 10 points on it, which is unfortunate. But I'm looking for base hits today, guys. I'm just looking to get my confidence back a little bit. I'm not even worried about the P&L. I shouldn't be worried about the P&L. I just want to trade well. I almost jumped back in on this at the break of this high, and I didn't. But I should have got in at 65 again and taken it up to VWAP. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Now that setup is no longer in play, but we can see how the back end of this trend line acted as support. It's also good at technical analysis. Cool, Jason. I appreciate it. Good. Congrats on making the $600. It's awesome, man. And thanks for coming. I hope you come back and check out the channel and subscribe. I talked about this a couple of days ago. I was gonna do a bunch of kind of beginner entry videos on just how do you get started with futures trading, and kind of like a primer just for people who are finding the stream interested in day trading, and they're like, well, all this over here on your screens looks too complicated, too much going on over here, and it's really not that much going on. I mean, I'm really just looking at this chart, and I look over here on levels. Like on this one, I look for things that line up on different charts. So here we had the downtrend line, plus we had this level of resistance on the 5-minute. And then we had VWAP and the upper band on the 5-minute. So when those really just 2 or 3 things came together, that makes the trade. And you can see how explosive the price was on that. Right, that's what you're looking for as a scalper. Price to really explode and move in your direction. If it's not explosive as a scalper, you probably want to be thinking about getting out. Cool, Andre. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Even just talking here about myself, I feel like I'm trading with other people. I'll go trading with bots. So when I traded Forex, I developed some bots. there was a cool company website that you could sign up for. It was like a one-time fee, and then you could go in there and like put your parameters in, and you can tweak some stuff, and it would spit out a bot for you. And I can't remember the name of that, but I did some based on some strategies. Most of them were moving average crossovers. Some of them also use the Williams percent range, and none of them were particularly profitable. I prefer just to do manual trading. And a lot of people think you could develop a bot to do this trading and make it profitable. But I tell you what, if that was the case, somebody would be selling that thing for a lot of money and everybody would have it. I mean, robots just don't work. I think if you did like super high volume trading, like some of the big institutions do, they also have, you know, advantages that we just don't have. So, you know, that's just not an option, I think. Yeah, the taxes for futures are different. I won't get into it. I don't really particularly want to give tax advice because I don't. I don't feel like I'm an expert in it. But yeah, futures trading is just taxed differently. It's like a 60-40 split, I believe. And you can look that up. But futures profits are taxed differently than normal capital gains taxes. I don't know what Renaissance is. Nope, never heard of that. This is super choppy, guys. I'm not getting into any of this. I think maybe it could pop up again up here. It's just too choppy. I should probably call it quits today. Not take another trade. I'm only going to take a trade if. Where's my resistance level? If we get up here above this, above the 20 SMA on the 1 hour, or price comes up to the 20 SMA. Actually, I don't know if I would even take that. I would only take a trade if we broke that 20 SMA and we popped up into this level, into this area. But I don't think it's going to do that today. I don't think it's got it. It would have made a signal that we were moving up at this point after 45 minutes. You enjoy it? I like coding too. I like coding too. I got into coding for a little bit. I liked it too. I like doing the bots, and then you could go in there and tweak the code yourself if you wanted to. I'm not a coder though. I'm not a professional coder. I built some websites and done some other things. What are my passions outside of trading? I play soccer. So we call it soccer here in the U.S. If you're overseas, I like playing soccer. I'm in an adult soccer league. I also have two sons who play soccer. I coach both their teams. I played soccer in college and all growing up, and that's really what I do on nights and weekends and stuff. I've got two young boys, so they're really into it. And well, they're 9 and 7, so they're not too young anymore. They're getting really into it, so that's a lot of fun for me. I also have also have a business that I run on the side, which provides me a lot of passive income. And so I trade. I got into trading. I think I mentioned this before because I was running this business, and it was getting bigger, and I was basically managing the finances on an Excel spreadsheet with a million different tabs, and I needed to get better at managing its finances. Now we got this pop up. Are we going to come up to that level? And I took a course at the University of Pennsylvania, and it was an online course, a free online course, I should say. I may have paid a little bit of money for it, but it wasn't like it wasn't for credits or anything. And like a continuing education course, we call them in the States. And they referred you over to YouTube every once in a while to look at videos, finance videos. And then YouTube was like, oh, you must like trading, or you'll be interested in day trading. If you're watching this, you'll be interested in day trading. And so I started watching some day trading videos, and I got into it. I was like, if I had $5,000, how could I make that $5,000 grow as much as I could in 1 year? And of course, I blew up a couple accounts in the process, and I went through all the pain every trader goes through. You think you're going to be rich, and you end up losing money in the beginning, and it takes you a couple years to kind of figure it out. So here we can see price making new highs, but look where Delta is as we're making that new high up to VWAP. So this does look bullish, but the overall, we're still, I feel like, just kind of ranging down here. I don't feel like we've started trending one way or the other. We are making a little bit higher highs here on the day, a little bit. And we can see where that trend line is. Higher lows a little bit, but it's not a good day to sail. I use that analogy sometimes. It's like when you're sailing, you want really nice strong winds and you want to capture those winds to get a lot of speed. There's just not really strong winds out on the trading lake today. It doesn't look like. We're popping higher. As soon as I say that, we start moving higher. The market at this level here, this 13,621. We got a touch here on the 1 hour. We really pushed aggressively away from it. You can see that. That could have been on the news though, on the CPI and initial jobless claims news at 7:30. Then we've got a big LVN here, a low volume node, which are support and resistance areas. So we're kind of coming into that. Plus we have this downtrend line, which we have drawn out here at the blue. Blow that up to make it a little bit easier to read. This thing. So we're coming up into an area of resistance. Here, touch there. This downtrend line. Low volume node, 20 SMA up here. So we've got some levels that I think price may react to. Could possibly take a short up at those levels. But I was, and Delta's not confirming that move up for me. Now we talked about this in pre-market. We're getting into rollover, and during rollover, contract rollover, Delta is going to start to act a little wonky. It's not going to be as reliable as it typically is. So we just be mindful of that and not rely on it solely. We're also going to be, watching a lot of price action as we come into those levels. I'm not going to, we're coming right up to one right now, 13,621. I'm not taking a buy here. We're ranging a little bit. It's higher than the NQ. Yeah, if you're going to trade the micros, you want to make sure you're trading off of a mini chart, meaning that you want to, you would like to have the mini chart up over here, and I've actually got this up on a another chart here too on the micro. I can swing it over so you can look. Here's my micro. So I've got a micro chart up here. I just have it up on the other screen. I don't know why, but I could put Delta on here. I've got Williams percent range. I never even read this thing. But which point of this was you would have, these charts up on one, reading it, and then you would do your order entry over on this chart on the micro contract. That's just on my workspace template, and I have never removed it, so it's there. Looking like possibly like an interesting short if we move back into the value area. I want to look at an overnight volume profile. We still have room to come down on that one. Yeah, I don't know. We can see a big move up on that. I think we saw the nice setup. Because the mini data is the price. So I'm answering Candlelight Trading's question. The price is going to be the same. Like it's going to be 15. Oh, let me see. I don't really want to mess with this stuff too much. The price is going to be the same, but the price is the same, but the data down here is going to be different, and the volume profile is going to be different, and the data on the mini is going to be accurate. You can actually trade off that. The stuff on the micro is not going to be it's not going to give you better. It's not going to give you good signals to trade. The mini signals are going to be better, if that makes any sense. And everybody does that. That's just not my personal opinion. I mean, I think everybody would agree with that. You don't want to use micro data to trade the NQ. Yeah, candlelight, I would definitely do that. So we're punching now down through off of that level. Delta's making new lows. I wonder if we're gonna. Well, we got the 20 SMA here at 35. I almost took a short there. Oh, my 30 levels. My 30 levels. We're touching the 20 SMA. I mean, this is how I kind of use the multi time frames. We broke the 20 SMA, but we're hitting the 20 SMA on the 5-minute. I really use these three charts. These three, the 1 minute, 5 minute, 500 volume when I'm intraday trading. Yep, clear trend line short. I think you're right. I think there was a trend line right here, bouncing off a support area. I don't know, man. I don't know if it was a clear trend line. We've got kind of these low. If you want to know how to draw trend lines, you just draw the two lowest points of the session, and it's down here. I think we could probably pop down to the value area low. This is a little bit of a break on that, maybe. I don't know, but I think we're kind of ranging here. Look at the top left chart, highest points. Okay. Yeah. No, I think that. Yeah. Are you talking about this one up here, the two points? Yeah. I think we're at the top of that range, and then kind of got one down here. And I think I talked about that just a second ago, that we're in a little bit of an up channel, but it's not real strong winds. Making slightly higher highs, slightly lower highs, and price may want to come back down there to 20, maybe break 32, 35. We break this, and maybe we get this pop down to 20, possibly. Not the best price entry on that for me. It's just watching Delta down here. I may have to close out of this. I'm gonna close out here. I'll wait to see if we get another bearish signal coming in up at the top of this. I don't like how it's pinning off that the 20 SMA there. And I always get back in. Look at that 1 minute there on the 5 minute, or on the 1 minute, the 1 minute there. Bearish candle. Really hoping that there's some follow through on that. Close out on this, I think. You'll see, seeing it opening up to the downside there. I mean, I'm not totally sold it's not going to pop down. You know. $69. Would have taken our profit. So the target on that is got to be down there at 16. I should have held on to that a little bit longer. Dude. Should have held on. Well, no, you could look at taking a long. Saying they should take out lows. Let's see. Oh, I didn't look at how my 4-hour candle closed over. Well, we're up 170. This trade could have been better. Should have held down to my original take, which would have given me about 10 more points on it, but we did not. Got chopped up a little bit in here. Our short was right. Took the short here. It was a pretty nice bearish candle there on the 500 volume, but popped higher, had to get out, got back in at a worse price. Well, not a worse price. I guess it was a better price than this one, but we had lost on the first one. And took the pop, took the drop down. I added to it, which is basically a flat trade, and then we got out at that as well. And we saw this hesitation. So, you know, is what it is. Guess we're waiting to see if we get a signal. Is there any way to private message people in the chat? I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know if you can private message someone in YouTube. Let me see. You cannot send private messages in YouTube anymore. No, you can't, but you could post your email address or something maybe if you want somebody to contact you. So David thinks we're going to take out, excuse me, David thinks we're going to take out lows. I think he might be right. It's charging down. Should have held that trade, huh, guys? Should have held that trade. Telling you, should have held it. It's going to be my t-shirt. So where does it want to go down to is the question. I think it has some support at 90 down there and also at 64. So we're right at that support level here. Maybe we break through this and we start moving a little bit lower. It's just looking bearish, huh? I don't want to get caught in a trap, though. I don't want to get caught. That is a nice breakout to the downside for sure. 75. Ooh. Again, I think we got some support down at 62. The back end of this trend line may come back into play. Ooh, look at our support level coming right in there. Let's see what happens right down here. Oh man, we're bouncing right off of that level. That level is the 20 SMA on the 4-hour, and it is also the back end of this trend line, which we drew out in pre-market. That would have been a good take profit area. I hope somebody captured that. I obviously didn't. Fumbling around with stuff over here. You can see how this little LVN formed there. Sometimes those are good entries, like a price is moving really strong, and you're trying to find a way to get in. You can wait for these little LVNs to form on the explosion, pullback. If you see an LVN form, and those are sometimes good entries. But I think we're hitting this support level that we had drawn out. So that is what it is. So I'm just looking at the chat again now. Did I ever use time and sales trading? I tried. Time and sales is really difficult for me to read. I think a lot of people struggle with trying to read time and sales data. And cumulative delta is like time and sales. So cumulative delta for me is just really easy to read. For most people, it's easy to read. I think it's just silly little candlesticks. Right, we're in this bearish structure. We can also see what we talked about before, as price had made these highs up here, but Delta did not make new highs, and now we're in this bearish structure on Delta. So it seems like this thing's going to want to come down some more. I mean, it looks bearish, right? I don't know if it wants to come down more, but it looks bearish. But we're at this support level, which we've got drawn out. So there's no trade for me down here. The better trade would have been to hold on to this one for possibly the breakthrough, or to short new lows on the day. And I was just talking about those LVNs. You can see this little LVN that's formed right here. This level, this 13,490, may want to hold, but I don't know. Roach Gang, thanks for watching, buddy. I appreciate you tuning in. First time, welcome. Thanks a lot. If you wanted to give it a like, I would not prevent you from doing that. You made 505. Nice. I like it. Amazon, wrong time for news. I didn't see Amazon's. I saw Amazon was moving up today, but I didn't see its news. What it released? What did it say? I did see yesterday they were going to do some, Congress leaked some news, or there was something about doing a congressional probe on Amazon, which pushed it down a little bit. I actually thought about buying Amazon yesterday because on that silly rumor, but I didn't, because I think we're still in a bear market. I think it's going to come down some more. Down to 50 maybe. Yeah, it's not a lot for me. What's charting software? This is NinjaTrader 8. NinjaTrader 8. Omari, yeah, I like the multi-screen 3-screen system. That's a common, I think, uh, not a common, but it's an old school strategy. Maybe old school's not the way to do it, but I read about it in some like book that was written like in the 80s or 90s about technical analysis and the 3-screen system. And I cannot take credit for it only. A lot of people do it. Use multiple time frames. Use multiple time frames. Get bigger picture and then narrow down to smaller time frames. LVN, low volume node. You can find more about volume profiles and low volume nodes. You can Google it. There's a guy named Corbs who does video. He does some stuff on volume profile. I haven't found one video that's well, there's one he has, I think, that kind of goes over the volume profile pretty well. So I talked before about trying to do some educational videos, but I just don't think I could, there's so much information out there. What I really thought about doing was just compiling kind of like a playlist of what other people have put out to give them credit for the work they did. And there's people that are far better experts at this than I am and would probably cover some things that I may gloss over because they're not relevant to me, but they may be relevant to you. Inverse the chart on NT8, and I'm using NinjaTrader 8, NT8. Can you inverse the chart? I don't know what that means, inverse the chart. Explain that. I'll try to answer that. You ever use TopStep? I did use TopStep. Hasn't been for a while. I haven't used TopStep for over a year and a half, maybe. Year. I think TopStep was one of the first ones I did because it's such a big player in the prop trading market. However, they've got too many rules for me, and I feel like if you're trying to get one of these accounts, do the one with the most trader-friendly rules. So I went with, Apex, Lilu, 1UP. They all have the best rules, and I'm sure everybody has their preference. There's also like UProfit. There's a ton of them popping up now. So we can see here, just interesting to note, price came right down to that area of confluence, 20 SMA on the 4-hour, and the back end of this trend line, which is turning out to be super important in this trading session. I would be using this possibly if we break new lows, using this as your next target, the back end of that trend line. We broke through 61 down to 52, and I had said just a second ago, I mumbled to myself, there's not enough room for me on it, because I thought about shorting as we broke new lows, but then I was going to use the back end of this trend line as my I was going to use the back end of that trend line as my take profit area. So our short, we got into a couple shorts up here and we got out way too quick, and that's fine. That's the way it goes. I am currently trading on an MES Capital account, which is through 1UP Trader. That's on this one. I've got a couple other accounts, but there's issues with Rhythmic and having more than one Rhythmic connection on your machine. So I've also got a NinjaTrader brokerage that I have a Continuum data connection with, which I'm able to do multiple data connections with NinjaTrader. And that's not a NinjaTrader issue, that's a Rhythmic issue. I've used Apex in the past. Fine. Just like everybody else. I like 1UP because you don't pay data fees once you pass. No, 1UP does not. 1UP doesn't let you have multiple funded accounts. Now we're coming back up into this range. I really wish I would have held on to this short that I took, and I really wish I would have held on to this buy that I took. So I'm still learning. So still learning. At least I wish I would have held on to this one down to my original take profit target instead of getting out so quick. But I think because I took a loss on this first one, I just kind of wanted to get my base hit. I'm just putting that there for now. I want to see. I think we may break that low and then come down to the 50 level. Look at that 5 minute. Again at 73 and then maybe add to it as we break the low. No, 2 please. I'm going to get in there because I think we're going to break this trend line. We can see we got this little trend line going on here. Oh, now I'm in it. But we want to see some follow through on that. I'm going to put a stop. I want to see a move on this. Oh no. I'm just looking at that 5 minute. That 5 minute looks gnarly. And I can see that we've opened up a little bit to the downside. We got this LVN here. That 20 SMA on the 4-hour may just hold. I mean, we're already down 2%. I don't know. I'm just seeing that 5 minute candle. This thing just looks like it wants, it came down, pulled back, big reversal candle, LVN there. I just feel like it wants to come down to that 50 level, but it's just going to do what it wants to do. It doesn't really care what I want it to do. All right, I'm gonna close out. $300. Oh boy, now it looks like it wants to come up. But that was just a little too close, huh? Too close to that support area. Yeah, David, you're right. I feel like we missed our big trades there. 950. Son of a gun. Yeah, that 5 minute just looked too bearish. I thought it was gonna pop down to the 50, but a little too tight, I think. You know, we do one of these, but they may still do that. Yeah, Hans, I got my bear avatar here. I've got that there. I don't know if I'm gonna take it or not. Me see just so much selling. I think it's gonna pop to the downside. The original trade was, down to 52. Let's see if we can get through 50. Right at 50. See how that LVN right here formed? Doesn't have a lot of interest in moving. I mean, I think it's going to move down some more. It just doesn't seem to want to do it. Right here. See the band opening up. I can see the backside here. It's LVN right here. This might be too microscopic for me. Microscopic, like I'm looking at too much detail, just this tiny little pocket there, but I can kind of see it, right? It's gonna go or not, I guess. Should go pretty soon if it's going to do it. See my buddy the tick chart looks like. Oh, I can see it open up. I still feel like the back end of that trend line is significant. Man, I need more coffee. I'm telling you, I need to get a coffee maker put in this room. Get a coffee maker put in this room. I'd never leave. That would be a real disaster. That would be real bad for my P&L. Just sitting here in this room all day trading with my coffee, all jacked up on caffeine. Well, 153, I mean, this is like, you know, I think it's going to keep grinding lower. I'm just trying to, I think, you know, the back end of this trend line was kind of my target on that. Just take the profit on it, I guess. I don't know if I'm particularly happy with 153. Better than negative 1800. I don't know if that, hey, Vernon, yeah, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I think I had a couple better trading opportunities today, which I didn't take. You know, this first one right here, man, that was just such a nice setup. I had the short here. So we can look at them real quick, I guess, because, you know, we had this trend line has proved to be super significant all day. Break of that trend line up to VWAP. That is a nice trade right there. And you know what? I should have just taken that and called it a day. But we just took a scalp because we're looking for base hits. We had this kind of trend going on here. We came up to a resistance level, which is drawn out here on this. Oops, you can see it on this red line plus the blue box. This was kind of a resistance level we had drawn out in pre-market. Price came up to it, bounced off of it, started coming down. Bearish structure on Delta forming. Took a short, got stopped out because we had no follow through on it. Got back in it. Took a little bit of a profit, but this was also a good trade. Back down to value area low. My original take profit was down here, and I closed out on it because, I don't know, I got skittish. And this over here, I'm fine with taking that stop on this. There's nothing much I could have done. I actually got in too low over here on this. This was not a good trade. That was not a good trade. These two, muy bueno, good. This one over here, too microscopic. Too microscopic. This is too small. This little tiny move. I think I was right. That price was going to break lows and come down back down to the back end of this, back into the trend line, which it did. It's a little too microscopic for me. Although that's, you know, 20 points. If I just would have taken this short, held it down to the end of the trend line, golden, that would have been a good trade. So we're learning, right? What did I learn from these 4 trades? We took 1, 2, 3, 4 trades. Hold it to the price target. Hold it to the price target. This one, close out when it's not going your way. Good. I'm okay with the loss on that one. This one over here, hold it to your price target. Get a price target, hold it. So I think this move right here might be done. Is he going to break 30 and now drop down to 14? What's gas doing? What's gas doing? What's my buddy oil doing? Hope I can just look at my phone. Oil's only up 1%. Ooh, oil actually looks bearish. Ugh. Whatevs. So no fireworks today, guys. No fireworks today. Time is at 10 o'clock. So you also need to be mindful of times. European market closes at 10:30. Volume tends to dry up around then, and I think the big moves for me are done. So I'm probably going to call it quits. This thing may drift lower. 10:30. We may come down to this value area low. We may come all the way down to 13,400, which is not that far away. But you know, I guess we're down about 140 off our daily high here. It's not that great. 50% down off our daily high. Not that great, but it's the way it is. It's the way it is. Looks like we may want to start pushing down lower. Down to 21 possibly. Now it seems like we're really going to start. This price action looks aggressive. We're now down through that trend line. You can see this opening up down to 20. May try to capture something here. Just one contract. I can see it opening possibly up, down a little bit lower. I'm going to get out the touch of that at 19, I think. 75-ish. 15. Might be chasing price a little bit here, guys. But you know what? Gotta chase it sometime. Just gonna chase it. We've broken pretty cleanly through this 20 SMA on the 4-hour. I can see we've closed outside of the band on the 1-hour. I can see 13,400 opening up. Health is not really moving up on this little pullback, and we've fallen back into this trend line. Now, is this trend line still valid? I don't know. Oh, I think we'd get that pop to 15. You can see the band there on the 1 minute. It's down at 1250. It's just, it is what it is. I feel like we're just drifting lower, and before you know it, we're at 13,490 or 13,390. Oh, that's a bummer. I should do that bear thing whenever this thing is not going my way. Shorten it right at the bottom there. Don't follow my trades, kids. you will lose money. I hope people are having a less stressful morning than I am. Well, it's not really that stressful. I mean, what is the absolute worst that can happen here? Nobody's going to the hospital. Nothing's happened. This isn't even really my money, although I did make the money in the account. This is a funded one right here that I'm trading on. That's why I'm acting a little looser with it. Although I shouldn't. I should trade it like it's my, personal account or whatever, but I don't know. I just not reason. God, I really need a coffee maker in here. I want to go get some coffee, but I don't want to come back and this thing is ripped up 50 points on me, and then I'm like, holy shit. I'm targeting this band down here, 13, whatever that is. 15. I may get out at 16. Call me 15-ish. All right, 495. It's probably got room down to 13,400. Ooh, see how the band just curved in like that? Ooh, I don't know. Anyways, you might be able to hold this thing down to 13,390. I've got a level down here on the 1 hour that I think would probably be a realistic target. 13,390-ish or something like that. I'm just scalping the thing. Even I've traded market users short, yeah. Well, this might be the day for you then. I don't know. But I'm probably going to call it quits at $500. And yeah, I don't know. That's probably it for me, guys. I'm kind of chasing my P&L at this point. So P&L is at high of the day. Trading 1 contract to 2 contracts. I added to a couple there. So we added on this one as we broke lower and got out both of them there. I added up here on this one too. So 1 to 2 contracts, which is perfectly doable, I think, for most people. Nothing crazy size. It's not like Termos Capital. Wonder how that guy's doing. Is his name Termos Capital? I can't remember. Trading like 20 lots. I heard he went down to 5 lots. So he's playing it super conservative at 5 lots, I guess. But you were trading micros on this thing, it'd be like $50. $50 is $50. Typically I'm around 1,000, so this is kind of an average day, I guess, since I'm trading 1 to 2. Sometimes I'll trade 2 to 4. So just trying to get a good trade. Again, I quickly went over my trades. These trades down here, this one right here, we actually made some money, and this one over here made some money, made it back. Weren't really that great of trades, and I'm not really proud of them. And I shouldn't get too happy about my P&L, to be honest. The best trades, again, were this one here, fantastic trade, could have captured, and this one over here. Those are the two good trades, and I really just executed them poorly. So I could have held on to this much longer. I had a profit target, which I closed out about 10 to 15 points too soon, and also my profit target on this should have been VWAP up here, and I closed out of that 30 points too soon. So live and learn, set a profit target, and make sure that your profit target and your stop loss are at least equal, or 1 to 2. Yeah, 1 to 2. So do as I say, not as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. And do not copy my trades. You will lose money. I appreciate you guys watching. It's now 10 a.m. Central Time. I will be back tomorrow at 8:10 a.m. Central Time. I will schedule that. And I'm going to do that right now because I forgot to schedule it for this morning. So I apologize if anybody jumped in late. I'm going to schedule that right now so that everybody's able to get in there on time so we can do the pre-market stuff. Is there any news coming out tomorrow we should be aware of? Let me do this first, and then I'll look at the news for tomorrow. You always want to be aware of what's going on in the news. We had news this morning, which was PMI and unemployment claims. So that stuff came out this morning, which is fueling this bear trend for the day. So it's always good to know what's driving price. Obviously, the ceasefire in Ukraine, the failed ceasefire in Ukraine and Russia is also driving this thing back down today. So good to know what's going on in the markets before you start making any trades. Let's see real quick. There is something coming out tomorrow. I can't remember what it is. No, Michigan Consumer Sentiment's coming out at 9 a.m. Central Time and at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I've talked about this before. Michigan Consumer Sentiment, you'll see price spike around it. So you typically just want to be flat, 10 minutes before and a few minutes after, because price will fluctuate, but it's not really going to drive the market. The market won't move significantly because of it, but it may move, 10, 20 points on you real quick for no apparent reason, and it'll stop you out or something. So you just want to be flat around it. Something to keep in mind tomorrow. So if I forget to mention that tomorrow, I'd appreciate if somebody reminds me. Yep, Michigan. Thanks, James. I'm just looking at the chat right now. And rollovers, yep, you can check your volume every morning. It's not going to be tomorrow. I would suspect it's going to be midweek next week before volume on the new contract exceeds the volume on the current contract. So we'll just keep an eye on that and all that stuff. And yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I think we had like over 100 people viewing this morning at some point. So that's awesome. That is really, really awesome. The first live stream I ever did, I think I had like 1 or 2 people in there. I think Cesaric, if he's on here right now, big shout out to him. I think he's been on every live stream since the beginning. Not every live stream, but he's been on since the beginning. And there was one other guy, I think, who used to join me, who I haven't seen on the channel for a while. So, but I appreciate you guys all jumping in on this. It really, really is awesome. And hopefully we can start to build a community of guys who are day trading this thing. And I'm big on technical analysis. I don't like just jumping in trades, although down here where I kind of was, I was kind of jumping into some of these, just trying to take the scalp. But I'm big on technical analysis. I did technical analysis for a long time, trading Forex, and it never quite worked out because Forex is so slow, and it's just, oh my God, you really got to trade on a weekly chart on Forex or something and endure some drawdown or take really small size. But I like doing technical analysis and doing pre-market stuff, looking at the news and hitting everybody up in the chat and answering any questions. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to sign off on that. I've been talking too long. Thank you for joining. I will be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central Time. I'm going to post that right now for the scheduled stream. All right, guys, take it easy. Thank you. And please subscribe if you haven't. I really appreciate it. See you guys.